Could the Utah Jazz win an NBA championship this season? Let's get into this. This season, the Utah Jazz are significantly improved from previous years, and they also have the best record in the NBA this year. The Jazz have been led by guys like Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, who've been leading their team for a while now. But this season, Donovan Mitchell has significantly taken him the next step. Throughout Donovan's whole NBA career thus far, he's been an amazing scorer every season, so the fact that he's scoring 25 points per game this year is no surprise. But on top of averaging a career high in points at 25.7, the real big step for Donovan Mitchell is A, his leadership has improved, and B, his passing ability significantly improved, and that really helped the Utah Jazz start winning more. This season, Donovan Mitchell's averaging a career high 5.5 assists per game at the shooting guard position, which is really good for his position. Donovan Mitchell does have a guy who can get the ball to open players in Mike Conley, who's an amazing passer, but the way the Utah Jazz play, the ball is mostly going to be in Donovan Mitchell's hands, so the fact that Donovan Mitchell can now pass really well really helps the Jazz in terms of winning. I say this in so many of my videos, but when a guy, especially a superstar player, is a really great passer, he completely opens up the defense because obviously he can score and the defense needs to double team at times, but also if he has that great passing ability, when he gets double teamed, he can easily kick out to the open man and really open up the defense and make the defense respect all the players on the team. But I'm a really big fan of Donovan Mitchell. I really like his game, and I'm expecting Donovan to get better season after season until eventually becoming an upper level superstar, in my opinion. And Donovan is already an amazing scorer, so eventually you have to look at other parts of your game to improve, and I'm really happy Donovan Mitchell has been looking to improve his passing ability. It's going to help his team win and him individually as well, of course. But Donovan Mitchell isn't the only guy in the Jazz that significantly improved this year. Jordan Clarkson is a guy in the Utah Jazz that is having an absolutely breakout season and is a contender for most improved player this season. Off the bench, Jordan Clarkson is averaging 17 points per game on an efficient 42% from the field. Jordan Clarkson was always known as a guy coming off the bench that was an absolute bucket and can score points in bunches. But this season, Jordan Clarkson has taken that to another level, where before he was always a great scorer and can score points in bunches. This season, he's a lot more efficient with it, and also he's scoring more points, obviously. To have a guy like that, like Jordan Clarkson, that can come off your bench and put up 30 points a night whenever he wants is very valuable to a team, especially trying to win an NBA championship. So when you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell who could put up 30 points whenever he wants starting, and you have another guy who could put up 30 points whenever he wants in Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench, that's a really lethal duo. On top of that, Rudy Gobert has been keeping a similar play to what he usually has been, locking down the paint and grabbing boards at will. I wouldn't say Rudy Gobert necessarily improved this season, but he didn't need to. He already had great numbers previously, and he's just keeping those numbers up and playing his role. Rudy Gobert is locking down the paint and grabbing boards at will, which is what the Utah Jazz need out of him, and anything above that offensively is just bonus. But the main reason I think why the Utah Jazz are significantly improved this season is because Rudy Gobert is still there locking down the paint, Donovan Mitchell has taken the next step with his passing ability, and Jordan Clarkson is having an absolute breakout season with his efficient scoring ability. And obviously Utah still has guys like Joe Ingles and Bogdan Bogdanovic that really help them off the bench or even in the starting role as role players. The Utah Jazz are definitely the best they've been in years, but the real question is, could they really compete to win an NBA championship this season? I think Utah is really well coached and they definitely have a puncher's chance at winning an NBA championship, but I don't necessarily think it's that likely, especially when you have teams like the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Nets in the same running. When you look at a team like the Lakers, obviously they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who the Utah Jazz can't match. They have Donovan Mitchell, who I think will be a superstar, but I don't think he's necessarily there yet, and especially when you're going against LeBron and AD, who are both top tier superstars, that's a tough matchup. And the Lakers just got Andre Drummond, so their rebounding and defense will significantly improve from that move, I think. So the Lakers are a tough matchup for the Jazz. Now I think it's a similar story with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are both top tier superstars, especially Kawhi Leonard, and I just don't think Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and Jordan Clarkson could necessarily compete with that. Now with the Clippers, I do think the Utah Jazz have one point where they have an advantage over them, which is big man play. I do think Rudy Gobert could block shots, grab rebounds, especially over the weaker competition he has against the Clippers. Because even though the Clippers try to improve this issue that they had last season with acquiring Serge Ibaka, it's still a little bit of an issue, and the Utah Jazz could definitely take advantage with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert could absolutely dominate the paint and get multiple offensive rebounds for the Jazz, creating more shot opportunities. And obviously Gobert would completely lock down the paint for the Utah Jazz. Now I do think the Clippers are a better matchup for the Jazz than the Lakers are. I still don't necessarily think that the Utah Jazz could beat the Clippers. Now moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, I don't know if anyone could beat the Brooklyn Nets, including the Lakers and Clippers, just because of all the star power they have, but obviously the star power I think is too much for the Jazz especially. But similar to the Clippers, the one issue the Brooklyn Nets have is big man play, and I think that's an opportunity for Rudy Gobert to take over. But in the end, for any team, but especially the Utah Jazz, I just think the Nets have too much firepower. I'd really like to see the Utah Jazz win an NBA championship this season. I really do like them, and I really love players like Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson. But realistically, I don't think the Utah Jazz will win the championship this year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Utah Jazz have a chance to win the NBA championship this season? Or do you think they don't really stand a chance against teams like the Lakers, Clippers, and Nets? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And until the next time, peace out, guys.